Upholding human dignity. When you hear human dignity, what comes to your mind? What is human dignity in your own understanding? Human dignity is defined as the fundamental innate worth of human being. It is a principle that is now universally accepted but has not taken root in the actual practice of many governments, communities, and other non-state actors. Dignity means to be worthy of self-esteem and respect. It just means that the concept of human dignity is the belief that all people hold a special value that's tied solely to their humanity. It has nothing to do with their class, race, gender, religion, abilities, or any other factor other than them being human. Upholding human dignity is at the center of the value systems that we associated with social peace. The principle of human dignity is enshrined in the teaching of major faiths. For instance, in Christianity, this would be rooted in the belief that God created human beings in His image. Basically, we got this from the Bible. It was revealed to us in the Bible that says God has created each person in His image. And that means that every single person bears the image of God, bear the stamp of Creator, that there's something distinct and wonderful about human life. Now, we will show you a 5-minute video about dignity.
Family, where it all began. Is it supposed to be like this? Father beating his son, beating his wife? I don't know. Really don't.
People killing, people dying, children hurting, I hear them crying. When they practice what they preach, would they turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us. This is guidance from above. These people got me questioning.
Once a tireless kid. A kid who would do everything just to please everyone around him. His friends, classmates, family, everyone. Spent hours working and aiming for success, but it is so ironic that he cannot even please himself. And most of the time, he's being neglected. Truly, we're different from each other. And sometimes I wonder, what's the feeling when you have the power to belittle someone? Should I greed for that power? In just a snap of my fingers, everything changed. I was changed. I have the power. I have it right before my hands. I can belittle anyone. I can destroy them. I feel like I can annihilate who they are as a person. It is devouring me. Finally, I can please myself while seeing others suffer. I can now finally see the joy of seeing them in my position before. So this is how it is to have this kind of power. However, I failed to realize that while I was busy destroying someone else's life, I already destroyed my own. Everything flashed back, and it is eating me up. I was confused. I was lost. Is this really a life worth living? I don't think so.
Where is that love?
From the video, human dignity affects two things. It first affects the way we see ourselves. We are not just our body and souls. We are not just who we perceive ourselves to be. We have been designed with a purpose by our Creator. But it also affects the way we see other people, the way we see our neighbors. Every single person we interact with, whether we like them or not, whether we disagree with them or not, is an image bearer of God, and so my attitude toward my neighbor really reflects my attitude towards our God. This is why human dignity is so important. It is likewise a commandment of Jesus that we love our neighbor even one's enemies. In Islam, it is believed that all human beings have a right to lead a rewarding and satisfying life. Human dignity and peace education. Education that seeks to uphold human dignity is often referred to as human rights education, which is within the umbrella we call peace education. In peace education, one of the central concerns is the promotion of human dignity and well-being because of the conviction that this is a foundation for peace. Betty Reardon noted, the achievement of positive conditions of human rights provide the foundation of a non-violent social order and greatly reduce the cause of armed conflicts and war. In the Philippines, massive poverty and injustices were indicated and ranked as the highest among the factors that have caused the armed conflicts in the country. Why do you think this happened? On closer analysis, it can be seen how these factors can also be described as constituting the denial of fundamental human rights of large groups of people. The dark days of martial law, recent summary of political killings and disappearances. These can be considered as serious threats to desired non-violent social order. Education has to play a role in cultivating mindsets, attitudes, and behaviors that would reject and denounce these conditions of violence. Also encourage a firm belief in and practice of respect for the life, dignity, and well-being of the people. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The recognition of human rights as a significant international concern came at the close of World War II, with the founding of the United Nations and adoption of the United Declaration of Human Rights, or the UDHR by UN General Assembly in 1948. An abbreviated version of the UDHR is found on the next slide, according to Flowers, 1998. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 1, Right to Equality. Article 2, Freedom from Discrimination. Article 3, Right to Life, Liberty, Personal Security. Article 4, Freedom from Slavery. Article 5, Freedom from Torture and Degrading Treatment. Article 6, Right to Recognition as a Person before the Law. Article 7, Right to Equality before the Law. Article 8, Right to Remedy by Competent Tribunal. Article 9, Freedom from Arbitrary Arrest and Exile. Article 10, Right to Fair Public Hearing. Article 11, Right to be considered innocent until proven guilty. Article 12, Freedom from Interference with Privacy, Family, Home, and Correspondence. Article 13, Right to free movement in and out of the country. Article 14, Right to asylum in other countries from prosecution. Article 15, Right to nationality and freedom to change it. Article 16, Right to marriage and family. Article 17, Right to own property. Article 18, Freedom of Belief and Religion. Article 19, Freedom of Opinion and Information. Article 20, Right of Peaceful Assembly and Association. Article 21, Right to participate in government and in free elections. Article 22, Right to Social Security. Article 23, Right to desirable work and to join trade unions. Article 24, Right to rest and leisure. Article 25, Right to adequate living standard. Article 26, Right to Education. Article 27, Right to participate in the cultural life of community. Article 28, Right to social order that articulates this document. Article 29, Community duties essential to free and full development. Article 30, Freedom from state or personal interference in the above rights. As we can see in the previous slide, the UDHR indicates that there are 5 major types of human rights. First, civil rights. Second, political rights. Third, economic rights. Fourth, social rights. And fifth, cultural rights. Human rights are expressed as the freedom to be, to have, or to do something. Human rights are expressed sometimes as the right not to be subjected to an inhuman condition. Here are examples under each of the different categories of rights from UDHR. Civil rights. Article 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, and 19. Political rights, Article 14, Article 20, and Article 21. Economic rights has Article 17 and Article 23. Social rights has Article 22, Article 24, 25. And cultural rights has Article 18 and Article 27.
The Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, or CEDAW. CEDAW is also known as the International Bill of Rights for Women, and is the only international treaty that comprehensively addresses women's rights. It features women's rights in the political, civil, economic, social, and cultural spheres. This came into force in September 1981 at the United Nations General Assembly that was ratified by 185 states, including the Philippines. The Philippine government committed to stop all discrimination against women. Discrimination against women has been a long-standing problem in many parts of the world. Many women have suffered indignities and inequalities on the basis of their sex and therefore have been hampered from the full enjoyment of human rights and fundamental freedoms. This convention has the following aims. First, it aims to bring about substantive equality of women, meaning governments are tasked to bring in actual results in women's lives. Second, it prohibits actions and policies that put women at a disadvantage, whatever its intentions. Third, it recognizes the influence of culture and tradition on restricting women's enjoyment of their right and challenges states parties to change stereotypes, customs, and norms that discriminate against women. And lastly, it discards the distinction between the private and the public spheres by recognizing violations of women in the private sphere, including the home, as violations of women's rights. According to RERDO 1995, there are 30 articles under the Convention. Article 1. Definition of discrimination. Any distinction, exclusion, or restriction made on the basis of sex which has the purpose or effect of denying equal exercise of human rights and fundamental freedoms in all forms of human endeavor. Article 2. Policy measures to be undertaken to eliminate discrimination. This embody the principle of equality in national constitutions, codes, or the other laws, to ensure their practical realization. Article 3 guarantees basic human rights and fundamental freedoms on an equal basis with men. Article 4 temporary special measures to achieve equality. Under this is that temporary special measures may be adopted and must be discontinued when equality is achieved. Practices based on the inferiority or superiority of either sex shall be eliminated. Article 5. Sex roles and stereotyping. Social and cultural patterns must be modified to eliminate sex role stereotypes and notions of inferiority or superiority of either sex. Family education shall teach that men and women share a common responsibility in the raising of children. Article 6. Prostitution. Measures shall be taken to suppress all forms of traffic in women and exploitation of prostitution. Article 7. Political and public life. The right to vote in all elections and be eligible for election to all elected bodies, and to participate in the formulation of government policy and hold office at all levels of government, and to participate in non-governmental organizations. Article 8. Participation in the international level. The opportunity to represent their country at the international level and to participate in international organizations. Article 9. Nationality. Equal rights to acquire, change, or retain their nationality, and the equal rights to the nationality of their children. Article 10. Equal rights in education. Women shall access to education and vocational guidance, and the equal opportunity to scholarships and grants, and the equal access to continuing education including literacy programs. Article 11. Employment. Women shall have the same employment rights as men. They have a free choice of profession, employment, and training. Equal remuneration and benefits, including equal treatment as to work of equal value. And they have special protection against harmful work during pregnancy. Article 12. Healthcare and family planning. Women have the equal access to appropriate pregnancy services. Article 13. Economic and social benefits. Women have equal access to family benefits, loans, and credit, and they have equal right to participate in recreational activities, sports, and cultural life. Article 14, Rural Women. Recognition of the particular problems of rural women, the special roles they play in economic survival of families and of their unpaid work, to ensure their equal participation in development and right to adequate living conditions such as housing, sanitation, electricity, water, transportation, and communications. Article 15, Equality before the law. This is to guarantee of same legal capacity as men to contract, administer property, appear in court or before tribunals, and the freedom of movement, the right to choose residence and domicile. Article 16. Marriage and family law. They have equal rights and responsibilities with men in marriage and family relations, and they have the right to freely enter into marriage and choose a spouse. Articles 17 to 22 talks about the detail of the establishment and function of the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, and the Articles 23 to 30 talks about the details in the administration of the Convention. Because of the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, the Philippine government has enacted laws to protect women. These are R8 7877, or the Anti-Sexual Harassment Act, RA 8353, or the Anti-Rape Law, together with RA 8505, or the Rape Victim Assistance and Protection Act, RA 9208, or the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act, RA 9262, or the Anti-Violence Against Women and Children Act, and RA 9710, or the Magna Carta of Women. In recent years, the United Nations Security Council has issued 2 landmark resolutions that uphold the rights of women. The first of these is the UN Resolution 1325 that was adopted by the Security Council on October 31, 2000, and the second is the UN Resolution 1820 adopted by the Security Council on June 19, 2008. Despite the efforts of the UN, the government, and non-government organizations, the elimination of discriminatory and violent practices against women is a continuing challenge throughout the world. Aside from the Convention on the Rights of Women, there is also a Convention on the Rights of the Child. The Convention on the Rights of the Child, or CRC, was adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1989 and entered into force in September 1990. It is a significant document because it recognizes for the first time the children's rights as a distinct human rights category that should be protected and promoted. The 54 articles of the CRC describe 4 categories of rights. The first category is the survival rights. It covers a child's right to life and the needs that are most basic to existence. It starts from the time of conception, and upon birth, every child should enjoy the basic right to health and nutrition. Second, development rights include what children require to reach their fullest potential, encompasses freedom of thought, conscience and religion, access to appropriate information, and the right to education, leisure, recreation, and cultural activities. Third, protection rights recognize the vulnerability of children by preserving their identity and nationality, as well as providing safeguards against abuse, neglect, child labor, drug abuse, sexual exploitation, sale and trafficking, torture, and deprivation of liberty and armed conflict. And lastly, participation rights allow children to take an active role in their communities and nations.
The next slide shows the abbreviated version of the CRC. Article 1. The definition of child. Child is defined as every human being below 18 years unless majority is attained earlier according to the law applicable to the child. Article 2. Non-discrimination. The state must protect the child against all forms of discrimination. Article 3. Best interests of the child. Best interests of the child shall be a major consideration. Article 4. Implementation of rights. The obligation of the state is to ensure that the rights in the Convention are implemented. Article 5. Parents, family, community, rights and responsibilities. States are to respect the parents and family in their child-rearing function. Article 6. Life, survival, and development. The state must ensure the child's survival and development. Article 7. Name and nationality. The right from birth to a name, to acquire a nationality, and to know and be cared for by his or her parents. Article 8. Preservation of identity. The state must assist the child in re-establishing identity if this has been illegally withdrawn. Article 9. Non-separation from parents. The state must inform the child or parents about the whereabouts of the missing family member. Article 10. Family Reunification. A child has the right to maintain regular contact with both parents when these live in different states. Article 11. Illicit transfer and non-return of children. The state shall combat child kidnapping by a parent or by a third party. Article 12. Expression of opinion. The right of the child to express his or her opinion and to have this taken into consideration. Article 13. Freedom of expression and information. The right to seek, receive, and impart information in various forms, including art, print, and writing. Article 14. Freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. States are to respect the rights and duties of parents, to provide direction to the child in the exercise of this right in accordance with the child's evolving capacities. Privacy, honor, and reputation. No child shall be subjected to interference with privacy, family, home, or correspondence. Access to information and media. The child shall have access to information. Due attention shall be paid to protect children from harmful material. Parental responsibility. Both parents have common responsibilities for the upbringing of a child, and assistance shall be given to them in the performance of the parental responsibilities, abuse, and neglect, whether in family or the other care. States have the obligation to protect children from all forms of abuse. Social programs and support services shall be made available. Alternative care for children in the absence of parents. The state shall pay due regard to continuity in the child's religious, cultural, linguistic, or ethnic background in the provision of alternative care. Adoption. States are to ensure that the only authorized bodies carry out adoption. Inter-country adoption may be considered only if national solutions have been exhausted. Refugee children. Special protection is to be given to refugee children. States shall cooperate with international agencies to this end and also to reunite children separated from their families. Disabled children. The right to benefit from special care and education for a fuller life in society. Health care. Access to preventive and curative health care services, as well as the gradual abolition of traditional practices harmful to the child. Periodic review. The child who is placed for care, protection, or treatment has the right to have the placement reviewed on a regular basis. Social security. The child's right to social security. Standard of living. Parental responsibility to provide adequate living conditions for the child's development. The right to free primary education, the availability of vocational education, and the need for measures to reduce the dropout rates. Aims of education. Education should foster the development of the child's personality and talents, preparation for a responsible adult life, and respect for human rights, as well as the cultural and national values of the child's country and that of others. Children of minorities and indigenous children. The right of a child belonging to a minority or indigenous group to enjoy his or her culture, to practice his or her religion, and to use his or her own language. Play and recreation. The right of the child to play, to recreational activities, and to participate in cultural and artistic life. Protection from economic exploitation. It is the right of the child to protection against exploitation in harmful forms of works. Protection from narcotic and psychotropic substances. Protection of the child from illicit use of these substances and the utilization of the child in their production and distribution. Protection from sexual exploitation. Protection of the child from sexual exploitation, including prostitution and the use of children in pornographic materials. Protection from abduction, sale, and traffic. State obligation to prevent the abduction, sale of, or traffic in children. Protection from other forms of exploitation. Protection from torture, capital punishment, deprivation of liberty. Protection against armed conflicts. Children under 15 years are not to take a direct part in hostilities. No recruitment of child under 15. Recovery and reintegration. Juvenile justice. Treatment of an accused child shall promote the child's sense of dignity. The rights of the child in other instruments. The dissemination of the Convention. It is the state's duty to make the Convention known to adults and children. Implementation. These paragraphs provide for a committee on the rights of a child to oversee implementation of the Convention. Rights and responsibilities. When we talk about rights and responsibilities, this means that if If we expect our rights to be respected, protected, and promoted, we should also be willing to undertake the corresponding responsibilities. We cannot think only of the promotion of our own rights without thinking of the rights of others. When we exercise our rights, we need to take care that we do not violate or deny other people's rights. Always remember that respect begets respect.
Teaching learning ideas. When teaching about human dignity, how we teach is what we teach. Below are some reminders that learning to uphold standards of human dignity and decency by students begins with the teacher and how she teaches, according to Flowers, 1995. Provide open-minded examination of human rights concerns with opportunities for students to arrive at positions that may be different from those of the facilitator or teacher. Be responsive to concerns related to cultural diversity. Activities should reflect a variety of perspectives, such as race, gender, religion, cultural or national traditions. Be concerned with both content and learning process. It is difficult to engage students in examining issues related to rights and justice if their learning environment, example, the classroom climate, does not demonstrate respect for human dignity and fairness.